Hello everyone and welcome to another live stream of Bone Studio. And today I had this streaming waiting in the bench since quite a lot of time. Hello Specs, hello Ausias, hello Juan Cusa. And I did it already in Spanish, and I was delaying doing it in English because I was kind of, as always, worried in work. And tonight I wanted to do another live streaming, but first I wanted to do the Scatter Addon live streaming because it's an amazing add-on. It's really well made. So if you follow with me from quite a long time, you know that I did some live streamings about architecture because we in the studio do a lot of RVs. And there are many tools that architectural visualization artists think that they are missing from Blender, so they keep using 3ds Max because they have ForcePack Pro, for example. And ForcePack is a very amazing tool. It's really well made by Ito software, and it's an amazing tool designed specifically for vegetation scattering in 3ds Max, because they just support 3ds Max, nothing else. And over the time I told people that in the studio we were not missing that tool. Why? Because we made our alternative to that tool. We made a scatter tool that we use in the studio with animation nodes, and it worked very well. It was a very good tool and it worked very well, and we needed no more, and that was great. But there was a problem, and the problem was that there is a technical part of the tool that only me can touch, because it's a bit it's like a bit of a bunch of noodles in the animation nodes node editor. And the other part is the artist part, that is just a node to scatter. We have 4 types of nodes and we scatter in different ways, different types of nodes, and it's great. But it was kind of complex when we had some kind of trouble or something like that. And there was another problem, that is, this tool was designed to scatter vegetation, but big vegetation. It was not designed to scatter grass. So for grass, we keep using particles, and it worked good. It was great. It was good, but it was kind of difficult to change, to modify the density of the particles, taking into account the area of the space you want to scatter. So it was right, it was okay, it was great, and we had the problem solved. But this tool kind of come and filled a space that was empty for us until Dorian VD3D programmed this, because we were able to scatter whatever thing we want. We were able to work with whatever architectural visualization scene we want, but it was not fast enough for us taste. And I was going to dedicate more time to further develop our tools to improve our scatter tools. But Dorian did it, and did it very well, in a very wonderful way. It's not a free add-on. That's the first thing you have to know. It's not a free add-on. It's a paid add-on in Blender Market, $60. It's a very good pricing, in my opinion, for this add-on. And we're going to see some of the features of the add-on and why I think this is a very great add-on. But apart from the features of the add-on, there is another feature that I think it's kind of important. That is the biomes. What is a biome? Well, a biome is like an arrangement of vegetation already made, already prepared to work with the add-on. And when you want to fill a big space with grass, for example, with the scatter, it's just a click, and you just click on it, and you have all the models, all the shaders, everything set up. You can modify the setup, but you have everything set up. So when you pay for the add-on, because in the end this is open source, it's GPL, but when you pay for the add-on, you are not only paying for the add-on. You have to have this very clear. You are not only paying for the add-on, you are also paying for the content you receive with the add-on, and we are going to see this content. At least the basic content the add-on has when you purchase it. There is no additional purchases. I think if I understood the author well, he's going to release more biomes over the year. So he's going to improve the library that comes with the add-on. And as far as I know, this is going to be free for already customers of the scatter add-on. So it's very good. It's really great. So let's go to see the add-on. I hope you enjoy this timing for the live streaming, because here in Spain it's it's a really dark night, but I think for many people in the States and overseas, it's better timing. So let's see the add-on. Let's go. When you install the add-on, you just have to install the add-on normally as any other add-on, and you're going to see one important thing, that the add-on has an interface. By the way, this version of Blender is the one I'm going to use if nothing crashes, and it should not crash, but just in case. Is our own build, is Bone Master. You can download Bone Master from graphical.org, and we have some improvements in cyclist speed rendering and other things. But it's 2.82. It's based on master from yesterday, I think. So let's see the add-on. So when you enable the add-on, you will see this kind of interface, and you have to do nothing. I think you have to define the preset folder. I'm not sure, but you have to do nothing. It's okay. It's correct. You may forget about that. But I mentioned this because we are going to see the Blender preference window quite a lot with this add-on. You will see why. So we enable the add-on, and where is the add-on? So the add-on is in the end panel here, and you will see a tab that is called Scatter, and this is all the add-on. And at first you may think that it has not too much options, but it really has a lot of options for scattering things. It's really good. It has a lot of options. So let's see different things. What I'm going to do is just to scatter a small field to talk about the different features it has. I'm not going to do a super in-depth feature review. It's just a useful review to show you how cool the add-on is. So let's see. We are going to create, let's start with a small field, like 20 meters by 20 meters, just a small field. Okay, and we are going to fill this field with grass, with some kind of grass. First of all, we are working with cycles. So you know that for cycles, I really love Real Sky. It's another paid add-on by Wolf, but it's worth the money. So we have here Real Sky, and we can render. Okay, very beautiful, perfect. It's a very good physical sky. It's not based on any HDRI, so there is way less noise than using any HDRI. Also, you may notice, I'm not sure if you may notice with YouTube, I think you do, but you may notice that we have a different distribution pattern. This is because we in our build, we have dithered sobble, that is different from the default sobble, that is more noisy. The sobble performs some dithering in the sampling, so the aspect, the visual noise, the subjective feeling of the picture is cleaner, faster. We also have scramble distance that I think you may already know, and it makes the picture clean very fast, but we are not going to use it right now. So we have our basic scene in cycles, and we go to scatter, and now we pick the object we want to use to scatter over it. So it's our target. We go to our target, we pick the floor, the terrain. Okay, we have the terrain, and now we have to scatter something. And we have two options. We can scatter an object, another object. For example, let's create a cube. We have this cube. Let me put this cube here. We have this cube, and we can scatter this cube. So we pick the object. Keep in mind that if we select the plane, it doesn't matter because we define our target to the scattering here. So we select the object we want to scatter, and now we have a lot of presets, and with the human figure we have in the presets, you are going to have an idea of the dimension of the scatter. This preset of scattering is designed for one type of scattering, and this other preset is designed for forest or for wood, etc. So let me read the chat. On the topic of noise, have you seen the new patch for optics denoiser in viewport? The new patch in viewport? No, not in viewport. In our build, we have one cool thing. That is that if you go to system, instead of enabling CUDA, you can enable optics for GTX cards. So we can be rendering with the GPU, but with optics in the GTX 1080. I have a GTX 1080 here, and this is optics. But we also have the optics denoiser, but I don't think this is enabled for viewport. Denoising, and we can enable optics denoiser, but I don't think this is enabled for viewport, or that we can enable this in viewport. So you have the patch number. Please put the patch number in the chat, and I will take a look. And if I can implement it. I will apply to our build for sure. It's very interesting to have viewport denoising with optics. Okay, so let me change it back to CUDA because I can use the CPU too. And if we use CUDA, we lost the optics denoiser. Okay, so now we choose the object, and we can choose the preset. For example, this preset. Yeah, new patch was ported just today or yesterday. Okay, give me the number, please. The D38, whatever. Okay, I'll take a look later. And if I can, I will do a build later too. Very interesting. Thanks for this off-hand tool. So we can press this, and we can just press scatter. Okay, we press scatter, and it says, okay, it says one thing, that this plane is not subdivided enough because it's just a plane, and it needs vertices to work with the surface. It cannot work. It won't correctly work with just a simple face. So let's subdivide a few times more. Okay. And next, it's not mandatory to subdivide so much times, but I want to do one specific thing later. So I go back to render, and now I can press scatter, and it's going to scatter the object we have here. And it seems that it's not working, but yeah, it's working. Let's modify the geometry, and here you have the scatter pattern done. It's very cool. It's really cool. And as you can see here, we have this kind of button that is really, it's a scatter layer. Jacob Sobral, hi, this moment I have a PC small. Do you think could have any problem if I install it? No, I don't think so. If you work with 2.80, 2.81, this is basically the same, but with some patches from, in fact, official developers, but we just apply the patches to our build because they are not yet in master. They have to pass review, so theoretically it's less stable, but this is completely theoretically because we work with it every day and we don't have any trouble. So you can use your build. I don't think you are going to have any problem. So now we have this and we can create another scatter. For example, we can create a cone. Okay. Now we have the cone selected and we can change the scatter pattern and we can select, okay, I want this cluster grass MS and just press scatter. And now we have this. Of course, the cluster grass has a different preset, so it has different configuration. And we can make it smaller too. And you can see that we have 2 layers of scattering. And keep in mind that we are working in real time in cycles. Okay, we can go to EV or to preview. We can enable EV if you want. EV and we want contact shadows for this, but it's everything's too wide. Let's change to a different preview. I don't know. Now, I prefer to work in cycles, to be honest. So cycles it is. Ah no, EV. Okay, EV but with the sky. We can increase the distance quite a lot. Okay, so we have a lot of objects already scattered. And what can we do with those objects? Well, it's pretty simple. We have our scattering layers and we can modify the configuration of these layers. For example, we can hide the layer in viewport or we can hide the layer for rendering. And we can go to the second layer, for example, and check this, that it says no system selected because we have no layer selected. So if we press in one layer, we have parameters, and particles collection. So we have parameters. By the way, this is the first version of the release of Scatter. I think I have not updated it. So there may be some updates in the latest versions, but it won't be too different. So if we go to parameters, we have a lot of parameters, but it's very important and very interesting that we can work with the scatter settings, not with the amount of particles we want, but with the density by square meter or by square kilometer. And this is very important because in particles, controlling the density of the particles, it's kind of hard. If you have a different size of plane, for example, let me illustrate this. So I have this plane and I have this other plane, and for this other plane I'm going to do okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, there are two different planes, and now I can go here to particles. I can add a particle system, frame one, it's okay, or a hair system, I don't care. Particle, it's going to be easier to see. Frame one, and we have 1000 particles. Okay, perfect. And I can name my particles. I can say my scatter, it's okay. And now if I go to this other plane and I want to use the same particle system, I can create a particle system and now I can use my scatter. But the density is not the same. Why? Because in the scattering settings, it's going to use the area, it's going to emit from faces, and it's going to distribute the same amount of particles in a different area. So we are not going to have the same density. So now we have to deal with the idea of having to calculate the correct value for the amount of particles for the density, for the correct density. And this is kind of important in architectural visualization, because if we have different areas in the garden and we're going to cover those areas with grass, we usually try to get the same density in both areas. And it's not always so easy to correctly calculate the areas. And for a small garden, it could be okay. But for a big garden where you have many parts with many small gardens that belongs to different houses and such things, maintaining the density is kind of hard. And this is already done automatically by the scatter addon. And it's pretty cool. So now we can define the density. We have emission density per square meter, 100, and I can say, no, I want much more. I want 1000. So I press 1000. I have my system selected, of course. I couldn't access this if I won't have the system selected. And I press apply. And it says you are going to create for 400,000 particles. Are you sure you want to create 400,000 particles in the viewport? And this is also kind of important. Why? Because when we work with particles, we may sleep at 0. And from creating 1 million particles, we can go to creating 10 million particles. And then we can suddenly make Blender so sluggish that we are going to have to wait like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, until Blender is done creating those particles with all those instances that we are watching, we are seeing in the viewport. So this warning is kind of cool to have, really. So now, okay, 400,000 particles now, it's a bit too much. Give me, 400. And apply, and it says, okay, 160,000 particles. Do you want to see this, or do you want to hide the system? Do you want to enable this amount of particles, or do you want to enable and hide the system? For the time being, in this case, for the demo, I'm going to change the count. But usually when we work with a big amount of particles, of course, we work with the particle system hidden. So change count, and that's it. Sorry, I press one thing, apply, change count, and that's it. Okay, and we have a very dense system of cones. But watch what happened with the cones. My cone was facing upwards. Okay, my cone is facing upwards, but the particles are not facing upwards. And this is something that we know Blender law skill, no crash, don't worry. And this is something we have to deal with when we do the scattering manually. But in the scatter addon, there is a tool here that deals with this, particles 90 degrees turns. So if we press this, we should get our cones correctly scattered. I don't know why it's okay. It's scattered below the floor because the center of the, I don't know why, but the center of the, the center of the cone is over the cone. And this is because I scaled the cone before. So I can modify this, and now we get our cones correctly scattered. It's pretty cool, and you can see how fast we can work with this. And this is that's the surface of the addon. It's very, very cool. Let me drink a bit, because I want this live streaming to be a bit faster than others, maybe a bit less than an hour. So we have our cones and we have our boxes and everything is working, and you know, you can do many things here with the scale. You can work with many things, but these are the tools for scattering, okay? And they are pretty cool. But if I work in architectural visualization, what I want is to be fast. I want to be fast. And for this, what I want to do is to work with my library, because I can have hello bones scattering is great. Exactly, one more reason to throw 3ds Max. We usually work with a library. In the case of furniture and other things, we have the Chocofur collection. Of course, we have also Axis People and We have different things from Chocofur, from Blender Market. We purchase models from Blender Market and things from Chocofur and these kind of things. And this is cool, but we want to use grass. And for grass, we want to have different collections of grass, but it's better if we don't have to deal with creating them and handling them. And we have purchased over the time different collections of grass, and they are all very good, but the one that comes with the scatterer is very, very, very good. Let me delete those two systems, and you just have to press delete and you have the plain clean again. And now we are going to create another scatter, but this time we are going to do actual real grass. So if we go to Biomes Manager, suddenly, as I said, we were going to see the preferences window many times, because here in the preferences we have the biomes, and we can pick whatever biome we want. Some are more complex, some are more simple. So I'm going to pick, I don't know, like this one that we have some flowers. So let's pick this one. Hello. Okay, I created it 2 times. Let's delete it. Biomes Manager, this one, and that's it. It's created. By default, it comes hidden for the viewport because the density is very high. But we can try, why not? Let's save. Scatter test. And we can try. Let's show the grass small. Okay, it was not going to crash. Why? Because the scatterer has implemented a custom proxy system. So when you scatter things with the scatterers, it's going to, especially from their library, it's going to use this. Okay, it's going to use like boxes that they are theoretically they are representing the grass you are going to scatter. So your computer don't die trying to work with it. But if we create a camera, and let me change to cycles because I prefer this in cycles. If we create a camera and we put the camera here, now we can press render. Let me check the samples. Render 100 samples. Performance 1616. Okay. Bottom top. What we are going to get is the actual grass. Okay, we are not going to get the boxes. We are going to get the grass. We are going to get the flowers. We are going to get everything. Now we want to modify a thing that the scatter add-on already comes with very good ground texture. So we don't have to deal with the texture either. For the ground, for the grass ground. Let me go to live streaming here. Okay, now we can go to Biomes Manager and you can see that we have B01 material. And this is going to apply the material to the floor. It's a very good shader that it's thought for grass. So if we apply the material, we have created no more grasses. You can see that the scatter layers that we have are the same, but the floor it's kind of better than the white floor, and it hides if you have like bald thorns in the floor. Now we can test to render. We can try to render this. Let's try. And you can see that without having too much more grass, without having to fully fill the field with grass, we have a very neat distribution. It's very, very cool. Great. And what about the memory? Because this was one of the biggest problems that we had with grass. Okay, 102 megabytes of memory for all this. What do you think? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But now we are going to test with a 100 meter by 100 meter field. Let me read the chat. Hello, one scatter and okay. Also, Sprieto, I have one question. How does the addon perform with irregular terrains? Very good question. What do you think if we try to scatter something over Suzanne? Do you think Suzanne is irregular enough? I'm not sure how it's going to behave in the ice because, you know, it's open, but we can use one of our features in our build that is the voxel remesser by Scorpion81. So we can go to remess and we go to voxel and we have voxel 0.05, 0.03, yeah, 0.03. So we have a closed mesh. It's just because I don't know how it was going to perform with that open mesh. We can try later. So that's okay, and we have our remesh. Now let's go to scatter, let's go to the biomes, and let's apply, first of all, let's change the target. Let me go to streaming. Let's change the target. So we don't want to scatter over the plane. We press X and now we don't have our layers. So wait, we just lost all of our settings. We cannot go back. We lost everything. No, we don't lost everything. Keep calm. Please, it's late in the night here in Spain. I'm kind of sleepy. So we press here, we pick the target and we recover our settings. Yes, we can have, because I read here that Jacob said, I see you can have layers and not only objects. Exactly. We can have many layers. So now we press X and we pick Suzanne. Let's say the smooth Suzanne. We pick Suzanne or voxel Suzanne or remessed Suzanne. And now Suzanne is our target. Now we can go to Biomes Manager and I'm going to apply the material first of all. And after that, I want a grassy Suzanne. So let's apply this biome, no, this biome. So I press here, it takes a while. Hey, Blentudes, thanks for that. You just won a question. You can ask me whatever you want. Okay, we applied this and suddenly in Suzanne we have different systems. But how does it looks? And now it sounds. Well, it looks that way, but we can check how it looks in render. Let's modify the camera a bit. And I think this is very cool. Let's try this. I don't know how it's going to come out because I have not tested this exact Suzanne with this scale and all the things. But I'm confident that it's going to look great. Here we have a grassy Suzanne. So, Blentudes, Oliver says, could you suggest a question? That's your question. So, yes, I can suggest a question. I'm going to suggest a question in just a minute. So you can see here that if it deals so well with Suzanne, I check the memory, 123 megabytes for Suzanne. It's very cool. I really think this is very cool. If it deals so well with Suzanne, I think it's going to deal very well with uneven surfaces. So now we can do another test. And this is the question. How does it performs in big surfaces, in big fields? So why not? Let's create a big field. So I'm going to delete all the layers from Suzanne for the time being. We are going to scatter something in Suzanne later. And I'm going to get the plane. And I just deleted everything because I want to modify it and to scale it a lot. So let's go to item and let's put 100 meters by 100 meters. not bad. Okay, let's put displays. So where is it? Here is the place, and let's create a clouds, clouds, and the size. I want the size to be big. Okay, not clouds because it doesn't allow me to go bigger. So let's use Musgrave. I think it was. No, Musgrave. Ah, okay. Let's deal with this here. And we have this texture coordinates object, not object, global, local. Okay, local. And let's subdivide the plane a bit more. I don't know why it's not allowing me. Where's my size? I don't have my size. On the mapping, the I don't see the mapping. I want this to be bigger. Where's my mapping? I just lost my mapping. I forgot my. Where is my mapping? And Jacob, Blentes, your work is so hard. Wave up in this moment in Spain. He's not working, come on. He's just enjoying the best YouTuber he loves in YouTube about Blender. Okay, let's do a simple thing here. Let's do UVs. Live streaming, please. And let's get none of this. Let's get the UV editor here. And let's scale this quite a bit. No, it was the other way around. UV. This is kind of putting me in the nerves. Okay, that's what I want. Ah, perfect. Now we want to increase the strength, and now we have our uneven field. Okay, it's good, it's cool. Now let's scatter something over this field. So let me apply the displays just for performance reason. This is not needed. Let me apply the displays, BIOS manager, and let's scatter this one, for example, and the material. I think the material helps a lot to sell the effect. Now let's go back. Okay, let's say the smooth, and now we can run and test. By the way, Bone Studio, I think you know Arimos 3D. Yes, I know Arimos, and I know he started working with Blender. This is simple. I think many artists in the industry are starting to work with Blender for many reasons, and one of those reasons is that they like the tools that come with Blender, but there is also another reason, that is the bad behavior from Autodesk that was the king of the hill. And now check this. It was a couple of clicks and we have this cool field of grass. It's very cool and it's very pretty, and we could increase the density to avoid having these spaces here, but it's very cool. And Ulysses says works with Eevee and cycles, so we can test this. I'm not sure about Eevee because I have not tested it with Eevee, but why not? Let's try. To be honest, yes, it works, but it's not as pretty as with cycles. Vegetation is always hard. The king of that hill. Yes, Autodesk was the king of that hill. 443 meters. What do you mean, Blender low skill? 443 meters. You want me to create a field of 443 meters? I think this is going to take a while. This is, in my opinion, this is the problem with Eevee. Eevee, it's very great, it's very good for many things, but when you go to a very complex scene, it has like this kind of pre-process time. For some situations, it's still faster than Cycles, but for others, it's slower because of this. What if you scatter Eevee volumetrics? Eevee volumetrics. You mean I get an object that has a volume and I scatter that object over the field? We can do that. It's just scattering another object. Hey, Juan Pablo, thanks for subscribing. Is that the native scatter add-on that comes with Blender? No, Tyrone Yanil. No, this is the scatter add-on available from the Blender market. This is developed by VD3D and it's very good. I can just say this, it's very good. And this is kind of dying. I think I'm going to kill Blender. Yes, let me kill Blender. This was the reason, because I don't wanted to test this. But hey, there is no crash. I'm just killing Blender. So let's start again. Scatter test, and with Cycles. Is way faster in Cycles. So let's test another thing, because I just closed Blender and of course I don't lose anything from my scatter. Okay, everything is here. And I want to show you one more thing, because we are now near an hour and I want to finish before the hour. But I want to show you one of the many features the scatter has. And one of those features is pretty cool, is the painting. So we can create a new paint layer, and you may say, okay, we are already able to do this with verticolor and particles, and yes, you are able to do all of these just with particles. But the problem is that it's not that you are not able to do this, is that this is made in a convenient way to do it fast and efficiently. So it's way better. So we go to new paint layer. I'm not sure if this is going to affect this, but new paint layer, and we are going to paint one, and we select this, and we go here and we are going to paint like this, another like this, and with this I'm going to do like a road. It's going to be like a road. Okay, and now I can no, not that. No, come on. Okay, have this, and now I can go out, and now we have the paint layer, and we can add influence to the selected system. So if I have just this system, it's going to affect just this system. I'm going to affect to everything except the wild. Well, for start, let's affect everything. New paint layer, add influence to the selected systems, and now we have here the systems affected. If we go to rendering, well, let's go to the camera and reposition the camera so we can see the road better. Remember that this is a 100 meters by 100 meters field of grass. So now we go to render and we press render. And it's pre-processing, synchronizing, initializing, waiting for the render to start, and it's done. Ta-da! It's very easy, it's very cool. We can work in a very efficient way, in a very fast way, and we can create all kinds of things. And now you may ask, hey, but can you scatter a tree? Because we may want to scatter trees, of course, we may want to scatter trees. Who doesn't want to scatter a tree? I don't know if we have trees here in the library. Let me check. We have flowers from Render Market and normal flowers. Okay, let's try to scatter one of these plants. It's not a tree, but because we don't have another thing really. Accessories and details. Well, no. Okay, we don't have trees in the library. Why don't we have trees in the library? It doesn't matter. So let's try to scatter, for example, this one. And William Har just subscribe it. Thank you. So let's scatter this one. And I'm going to create this here, add flowers model, and here we have my flower model. And let's scatter this. Because I want this to have the size of tree, I'm going to increase its size. Because right now it's just 1 meter, so I want to have, I don't know, 4 meters. But of course, I want to be bigger, so 4 meters. It's a super big plant. We're going to apply the scale. Always apply the scale, please, or you will get weird errors. And now we are going to pick one scatter pattern. For example, this is going to be for to scatter trees. So let's use this one. Yeah, this one. And just press scatter. Please have some particles in your selection. Okay, sorry, I have to select the object or the objects, and I can press scatter. And we can fix the rotation, and that's it. We have a scatter. It's just the same as I showed you before. So just in particles, I want a bit more density, and we press apply. And yes, please change the count and hide, because since I'm using a custom model, I don't have a proxy model for it. And I think BD3D was working in an automatic proxy generation when you want to use a custom model, and this will be very welcome. But for the time being, just hide the particles. And let's do another thing, that is, I want more density in the grass. Okay, this is, well, this is the small. Let's try the dry and the wild. No, I want the small one. Yeah, I want more density in the small one. So let's try with, I don't know if it's 100, what it has. Let's check the amount of particles. It's a grass small, has like 1 million. 1 million, and if I apply 100, it's going to give us less particles. So I think 300. Apply and hide. Okay, it should be enough. Let's render again. And come on, it takes a while, because how much particles do we have? 3,100,000. Synchronizing. By the way, I'm going to do another live streaming tonight, just before this, so in like 10 minutes, but it's going to be in Twitch. If you want to come over, I'm going to do Lux render unboxing. I did already this video in Spanish, But now I'm going to do it in English because right now we were using cycles until a week ago, more or less, that we discovered LuxRender. We already knew LuxCore, sorry, it's LuxCore. We already knew LuxCore, but LuxCore is completely new. It's like a renewed version of LuxRender. It's very cool, and I want to show it to you because it's a very good render engine. And I'm going to do it in tweets. We have the tweets in tweets.com/Bone Studio. So here we have. And what about the memory? Remember that we are using a lot of graphs, and we are using a custom model, and we have just 1.2 gigs of memory for 100 meter by 100 meter. It's very cool, very cool. And I think the grass smile is too much. I think that 120 may have been more than enough. Let's test from this point of view. I read you, Oliver. Maybe you applied the scale of the object. The scale of my object was already 111. I have a fixation. We have the scale applied to everything. But yes, it can sleep. I'm not completely following the live stream, just coming on and out, but this looks amazing. Yes, it looks amazing. This add-on is very good. It's very amazing. Pelmany is meant Etana. You just subscribe it, I assume, because the words. Okay, and I think we have too many plants here. Don't you think that? These are a bit too much. Let's reduce the amount of plants. So we go to my particles, and let's reduce to 20. No, less. Like 5? Let's try with 5 because this is a bit too much. Come on, and is the reason for the 1.2 gigabytes of RAM. It could be less. Copy and transformation. Okay. So half gigabyte, 500 megabytes, and still a bit too much, but okay, this could be trees, so it's not bad. What do you think? This looks kind of strange. I don't know what this could be. I don't know. Okay, so that's it. Let me remove this plant. It's horrible. And let me put the camera in a better place. Like this one. And we're going to make a super big Suzanne for the end of the stream. You can do Creator 4 with scatter. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. It's super good. And we are going to scatter something in Suzanne. Let's scatter some biome with flowers. Oh no, I forgot. I don't have my target correctly selected. Let's select Suzanne. Now with sunflowers. And let's put this more like this. Yeah, this is okay. And let's check the render and let's finish this live stream. Someone's going to get high in there. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. That was what I was thinking. And after this render, I think I'm going to finish. So I hope you liked the add-on. I think also fur can be simulated with dynamics. I don't recommend you to simulate this because this is a very large amount of particles. But check this. Oh no, they did it! It's the Planet of the Apes. I know for 4 you don't need this scatter add-on. You can use this to generate 4, and the character can be simulated. What you cannot simulate is the actual hair. Okay, this is not going to be simulated, but yes, you can use this to generate 4 in characters. So it's pretty cool. I think the pictures is very beautiful. The result is very good. -5, -4. The result is very good. The add-on is very good. The price is more than fair, and the collection of assets that comes with the add-on is a very good collection. It's thought to keep the memory low and to give a good result, a good looking aspect, and you can always scatter your own grass, your own things. You can use grass wall with this. You can use the grass wall assets with the scatter add-on too. So you can do whatever you want. It's a very good add-on. I really recommend the add-on. So that's it for tonight. I will be live again in Twitch in, I don't know, 10 minutes. So if you want to know about LuxCore Renderer, come over and we'll talk about it. See you in the next live streaming. Hope you like it. Press play, share, and press the little bell so you know when I do this kind of streams. So see you in the next live streaming. Thank you all for watching. Bye.